It's your Dockmaster Michael Atilano, and you are listening to the Starboard. The guests on this episode are Christian Gratz and LeahBeth Evans, also known as the Frost Duo, here to talk about their brand new single release, My Funny Valentine, and their new album, Play Nice. Welcome aboard, Christian and Leah.
Hey, how are you doing?
Dockmaster Michael, thanks so much for having us, man. This is a pleasure and honor. Now, you're out of Florida, right?
I'm in Seattle.
I'm sorry. I don't know what I was thinking.
It's okay. There's other yacht rock content producers. Majority of them are from Florida, ironically.
I should have put two and two together that Pacific Coast FM is not the Southeast. It's it's the Northwest.
Well, you never know because there's different channels out there like Pacific Radio or Pacific Summer Sound. There's different people that have the name, but they're based out of France and other countries. You know, they love the music that you're making in that kind of style.
Michael, it's so cool, man. I've heard it said, and I don't know how this will sound over the air. It might turn people on or off, but I remember Frank Zappa said that Europe loves music and artists, and the United States loves entertainment. What I'm trying to say is that all these stations over in like Scandinavia and the UK and in France and in Chile and stuff, they love music. They love art. You know, to them, it's every little detail. It's all the details and its quality. They don't like noises and bells and whistles. You know what I'm saying?
One thing about a lot of the art is it comes from the East, if you really think about it. And a lot of that stuff got pioneered there. That's why they did so well when it came to soul music. You have Average White Band. I think Peter Beckett and Player don't get enough credit for being a soul band.
Oh, absolutely. You know what? And when people say yacht rock, they really mean R&B influenced rock that was made on the West Coast. You know? And one of the first songs, I was thinking about this the other day. If you really want to like hit How Long by Ace, you know? I'm thinking it came out that same year. I'm thinking the song That's the Way of the World by Earth, Wind, and Fire, because you had the chord progression, you had the same 16-note feel, you had the same rhythmic 16-note guitar chords, the smooth electric pianos, the octave vocals, the lush background harmonies and chants in the background. That is like, that's it. I think it's that Earth, Wind, and Fire tune. In the yacht rock groups, you're going to see a lot of people go back and forth. You know, some people say that Boz Scaggs is yacht rock. Some people say that Pages is yacht rock. Some people say Steely Dan is yacht rock. The Doobie Brothers are yacht rock. Well, some of these things kind of conflict. You know, like the Doobie Brothers are not, they don't sound like Steely Dan. And Pages don't sound like the Doobie Brothers, you know, and it's like they're different things. I think that the real true yacht rock grooves are the stuff like the Larson Fightin' stuff, you know, What You Want to Do for Love, Bobby Caldwell, the Airplay stuff. It's got certain characteristics, which I can't believe, but I'm really thrilled that there's a voracious appetite for this stuff. As soon as the 80s kind of came around, the early 80s, everybody wanted to forget about this stuff. I mean, people were on to like Michael Jackson, John Cougar, Men at Work, Culture Club. If you were Christopher Cross, Robert Dupree, Steely Dan, you were like old hat in, you know, 1982, 83, according to the charts and according to people, according to the culture. Because, you know, in the 80s, I remember from the 80s is we wanted everything new. It was all about next, new. Don't worry about yesterday. Like that's gone. We want new, brighter, shinier, more. You know what I'm saying? But now we're doing the opposite. Now we're going backwards. Now we're like, let's go see what we lost. Let's go see what we kind of ignored.
Put on the back burner.
Yeah, like we ignored all this stuff on purpose. You know, all these great albums, man. These thousands of amazing albums, singer-songwriter albums from the West Coast. And now we're like going, wow, what did we do? You know, we're listening to the Culture Club and Men at Work. Now we're like, what the heck did we do? You know what I mean? It's like, that's the way I feel. It's like I'm scouring the record bins looking for like, I always look for the date. When was it released? You know, then I'll look for the personnel. Then I'll look for like, what kind of instrumentation's on it. If it hits all those boxes for me, I'll get it, you know? And yacht rock I've been buying this stuff, man, for like 20, 25 years. I never stopped buying it. I'm rambling though. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay because you're leading into where I wanted to go with the conversation is how did you develop your guitar technique to infiltrate all those styles? See, that's the difference. You're talking about it, but you put that stuff into music and it's not easy to do.
Well, as far as guitar technique, even piano technique, for me personally, what I do with the Frost stuff and my own solo stuff is I'm not equating myself with the likes of Jay Graydon or Michael Atilano or anything like that. But I think like they do. In other words, they think like jazz musicians and they play jazz licks and jazz riffs in pop soft rock music. That's what makes that stuff happen, you know. This is why people listen to it. Especially a lot of our listeners in Japan, they'll listen to a recording and they know exactly what they're listening to. It's got a high quality guitar sound, it's got a high quality keyboard, it's got great Rhodes. They collect this stuff and they display it. It's like art. They listen to it, they digest it. This is great because this is the way I am. I'm as much a fan as a musician. I'll always probably be a bigger fan than I'm actually an artist, if you will. I just wanted to make more of this sound that I liked. And I think Leah feels the same way.
Yeah, definitely. When you listen, Christian really, when he's doing his solo stuff, he really hones in on that true rock tone. But then when you take a look at what he and I do together as the Frost duo, we both share that love for yacht rock. I even sometimes, say classic rock because we have other influences like Fleetwood Mac and Hall and Oates and everything else. I think with that and then influences from classic jazz artists, it all kind of comes together. And even if you look and see, you'll get these stations, yacht rock stations and smooth jazz radio too. They'll be playing almost the same styles half the time. Like you'll see a crossover between yacht rock artists being played on smooth jazz radio and vice versa. Bobby Caldwell is a perfect example. To me, I call that smooth jazz. Some people call it, more so rock, but that's the thing. They kind of all blend together. So when Christian and I record, going back to what he said about putting those smooth jazz licks and like those jazzy licks over rock songs sometimes, that's kind of what we focus on ourselves. And that's the kind of style that we love.
Here's what I've noticed. And when I do my Saturday night shows, see, this is what really surprised me about your group first and foremost, before I even get into that, is that Christian, all of your other albums sound different from the next. It's like, wait a minute, he's going for this sound here on 1979. And then 1981, it's like a completely different sound, but it's in the same context. Now, when I heard Play Nice, I was blown away because going into just the different aspects. I mean, first of all, Leah, you're absolutely fantastic. Now, when they see visuals of you both look like alternative rock stars.
Well, and let me tell you, and that is really the look we go for because we love rock music. Don't get us wrong. Like we love rock music, but we like to put a little bit of a bend on things. And to me, that's what that smooth jazz is. It's putting a little bend, a little groove into things. I love nothing more than when we walk into a jazz club. I mean, anybody who comes out to see us will know. Like sometimes I'll wear like a nice dress or something, but a lot of times like we'll throw the leather in there. We're both be wearing like leather rock star clothing, and it does. Sometimes I think it throws people off and it makes people question, oh, what's going on here? Are they rock musicians or are they jazz musicians? Well, we're kind of a blend of both.
Even when I was younger and I was playing in horn rock groups, kind of like Chicago Blood, Sweat, and Tears, we did all that kind of stuff. I always dressed really viscerally, because let's face it, people listen with their eyes a lot of time, and that's not a put down. That's just the way it is. When you go out to play, you're put on a show. And I figured, well, instead of wearing a suit, the typical jazz attire, if you will, I'm wearing leather pants. I'm wearing a striped tight t-shirt. I mean, this is years ago. I can't do it anymore. I have my hair like dyed different colors. I wish I had pictures of that stuff. I'm playing a Stratocaster. So it's jazz with like a really youthful,
rock and roll,
energetic,
undertone,
like sports car kind of energy.
And then now you've moved up to the Rickenbacker and it's like, dude, you went like freaking first class I'm not saying anything about Fender Stratocasters or anything. Don't get me wrong, but Rickenbacker, that's where it starts for the most
Oh
part
yeah,
for rock and roll.
yeah. Rickenbacker, man, there's nothing like the sound of a Rickenbacker. It sounds kind of like a Telecaster and a Les Paul Jr. It's sort of in between them. Now, for recording, of course, I usually use a hollow body arch top, like a Gibson style, to get those real thick sounds, And I'll use Stratocasters on the album. With our album, Play Nice, that was mostly solid body. That was mostly Fender Stratocaster. And I also used my hollow body arch top on that. And I also used a Fender Starcaster, which is a guitar they made in the mid 70s that was their version of an ES335, the two humbucker, two cutaway type of deal. And that gets a very unique sound. Plus, the engineer that we use is a brilliant guy, and he gets guitar sounds like fast. If you say, Matt, I want you to give me this tone of the sound you're looking for, he gets it. He gets it like 5 seconds later. And so it almost doesn't even matter what guitar you use today as much, because the software is ridiculously good. If you could have a Stratocaster, you can make it sound like anything you want. As a matter of fact, there's one track on the album that sounds like I'm using like a big Gibson Super 400, and it's literally just a Stratocaster with humbuckers. You could like literally dial in.
It's crazy to think that we've come that far in technology where it's like, it doesn't really matter what you put in. It could be all digitally duplicated, so to speak, with whatever pedal you want or whatever guitar, Larry Carlton sound. You could actually get it probably to his sound. Pretty crazy.
Larry Carlton is one of my favorites. See, there you go. That, let me tell you, what got me into jazz, or pursuing jazz, if you will, is the first thing was Blow by Blow by Jeff Beck. I bought that cassette in 1990. It was the summer of 1990. I'd been listening to Jimi Hendrix. I'd been listening to Robin Trower. I bought that cassette because it was in the $2 bin at the store called Paperback Booksmiths, which was a national chain that sold tapes and records, and they were blowing out cassettes because cassettes were kind of on the way out. So I'd go up there every Saturday and I'd see what I could find in the giant bin. Lo and behold, Blow by Blow. All right, let's give this a shot. And that was it, man. That album, it was a bridge for me and many other guitar players or musicians, drummers especially. That album was a bridge that took us as rock musicians into jazz. Like, it made it understandable. Then I bought the Larry Carlton self-titled cassette, and that was it, man. I absolutely love Larry Carlton's tone. His tone and Jay Graydon's tone are my favorite two electric guitar tones ever. Every sound in an album, the drums, Jeff Porcaro's drums, incredible. Abe Laboriel's bass is amazing, and Greg Matheson's Fender Rhodes was amazing. That was the era where the Fender Rhodes was heavily popular, 1977, 78. And that album inspired my keyboard playing also. I learned so much from Larry Carlton's album. And I actually he's on my Facebook, Greg Matheson. I thanked him. I said, thank you. Your album made me a decent keyboard player,
Now, who is your personnel on your album, Play Nice?
It's myself on guitars and all the instruments except for drums on one track. That's Pat Marcinko playing on drums.
He's a real drummer who actually played on Walking Away, which that's the one song that kind of like is the elephant in the room on that album, because I wanted that song to have a traditional feel. Chris and I really love yacht rock, soft rock, smooth jazz. We love blending all that stuff together, but we do love traditional jazz music too. At least I do. Ella Fitzgerald, Etta James, Frank Sinatra. So that one song, it really stuck out on the EP because it just has that traditional feel to it. And I wanted to keep it that way. I wanted it to be very simple. And he played the brushes on it. It sounds, oh my gosh, it's like one of my favorites. It has that very modest feel to it.
How long have you guys been a duo for? This is your first EP, correct?
No, actually,
it's our second EP.
So this is our second EP, but it's the first time we did a jazz EP, if you will, because the first, I'll tell you, our first.
The other one's like country and rock. It's weird.
It's
I
cool.
don't want to say it's so much country, but I mean, our first album, we had how many, 10 or 11 tracks on the album. And what we did was we wanted to just get into experimenting with composing with each other. I mean, we started back in 2015 performing together. And we started just doing soft rock and traditional jazz. Chris would have the keyboard and I'd just sing. But then we started getting more popular locally and performing more. And eventually we ended up branching out. And I mean, whatever people wanted is what we wanted to give them. So, I mean, we've driven as far, we're from Pennsylvania, but we've driven as far as Tennessee just to play a country night. So at that point, we wanted to do something when it came to our first album. It was really more so for the local people that used to come out and hear us, and they still do, and just play what they wanted to hear. So we wrote a couple songs that do have a little bit of a Southern feel, if you will, off our album Spring, which we're still very proud of, but it's definitely a different vibe than this EP and other singles that we, such as My Funny Valentine, which we're going for.
My funny Valentine, sweet comic Valentine, you make me smile with my heart. Your looks are laughable, yet you're my favorite work of art. Is your figure less than Greek?
And piggybacking off of what you're saying is that I was playing My Funny Valentine, and it goes right in. I played it right after Pete Escovedo and Sheila E. did a remake of Glamorous Life, but it's totally salsa style. So anyway, I just cannot tell you like how wonderful the music is. Aside from all the influences and all the records and stuff, it's like a work of art. Not only that song, but even the other ones as well that we've been playing on Pacific Coast FM. You guys have all the pillars that make good music. And so to me, it's no surprise that you guys are finding your ways onto the smooth jazz charts. How has that been for you?
Oh, it's awesome.
That was crazy.
It's surreal. Like, I can't believe it. Some days I can't believe it. You know, Mike, it's such a thrill because who'd have thought like you'd find yourself on the charts and you see that all these other artists are next to you, like Lady Gaga and
that was the biggest thing
Tony
for
Bennett.
us. When we started getting more into smooth jazz, the first chart we ever hit was the iTunes Jazz Singles chart. And it was actually with a cover of Changes by Black Sabbath.
Yeah.
I was like, I hear this beat. Let's do it this way. And we just did it for fun.
I'm going through changes. I'm going through changes. I'm going through changes. No, 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 no.
We did not push this song. We didn't advertise this song. We didn't do anything. And people ended up buying and streaming it on Apple and iTunes. And that was the first time we actually hit the iTunes jazz charts. And for me, that was huge because I'm younger. I'm 27. So, I mean, don't get me wrong. I used to buy CDs and sometimes I still do. But my means of having music is I will not buy any other phone. I literally keep buying iPhones, and I keep an iPhone because I love using Bluetooth, and I know it's not the same as having that physical product, but that to me was big because
Tell Michael about my house. Dude. Tell him about my house.
oh, Chris's house is filled with EPs, but it's crazy because like to me though, iTunes is what I grew up with. Even before Spotify, like that is what I grew up with. That's actually how I personally started discovering, even before like, you know, Chris and I linked up, I started discovering all these classic rock artists and jazz artists through Apple Radio when it was still free at the time. You could just preview all these songs and then buy them as you go, which is what I used to do. But our EP, that charted at number 51 on the album charts next to Tony Bennett and Lady Gaga. And I was like, wow, like Tony Bennett, he's a classic. And then Lady Gaga, you look at her, I find her so inspirational because she's one of those people that, she didn't care. Like she did pop music, she did jazz, she did country, she did rock. She kept an open mind when it came to musical preferences. And that's what I really love and respect about her. So to see like these two legendary artists with their album together and to see your name next to them, it was just so cool. It was just amazing. And now with My Funny Valentine, we have all you guys supporting it, and we really appreciate it. And all these stations just spinning it, smooth jazz and yacht rock stations. And we started hitting some of the airplay charts now too, which is based off of just radio airplay. And it's really cool. It's awesome.
One of my biggest inspirations was, as far as the smooth jazz stuff, is late 70s George Benson albums. Herb Alpert, Rise was absolutely huge. And I noticed, especially for myself, smooth jazz has to have like a nice disco-y R&B groove to it. And for me, it's got to have a classic sound to it. There's a lot of percussion in it, a lot of synth stuff. But I like it really like space, where you could hear each instrument, and each instrument has its own little parts. I always picture a beautiful woman, in like a Chanel dress. I see them out dancing to this stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally. I always picture driving down the coast, and if you could hear the waves through the beat, it's smooth jazz.
Yeah, definitely.
One of our biggest I know about Leah, when it comes to this stuff, is, believe it or not, it's like the late period Bee Gees. And if you listen to a lot of that stuff, there's a lot of R&B and jazz intersection going on all the time. And the analog, the keyboards they're using, the Rhodes, the clavinets, the effects of the time, phase shifters, choruses, the guitar lines, the different way they arrange the guitars. When it came time to do My Funny Valentine, I was listening to Love You Inside and Out with Bee Gees. I was like, darn, I was like, yes, I'm loving this stuff in here. I hadn't heard it in a while. So I kind of like used that as like a background template for how I wanted to arrange it.
Yeah, because when we talked about the idea, we talked about definitely making it smooth, because when you hear covers of My Funny Valentine, nobody really seemed to do something like this with that song in particular. And it's such a beautiful song. I mean, I love, the traditional version of it, but there's thousands of remakes of the song with the same style. It's like, let's put that smooth style to it.
A lot of people, this is an old trick, is you put a happy, upbeat groove on a sad lyric. And this song is really a sad lyric, and it really does magic, I don't know what that is, but it works. If you have a sad, slow, somber music with a somber lyric, it doesn't work. But if you have a upbeat groove with a sad lyric, it actually makes it more sad, but in a weird way, like a kind of a forbidden way. It makes it sad. Like, I shouldn't be feeling this happy. This song is about sadness. And does that make sense?
It does.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Let's talk about real quick. We're starting to run low. Tell me about your upcoming gigs.
Upcoming gigs? So we've been waiting to officially announce this on our Facebook page, but I guess we should probably announce this. We're very excited for this. If you are in the Reading, Pennsylvania area, we are going to be performing at the Berks Jazz Festival this year. We are one of these supporting acts. You could catch us 4:30 to 6 p.m. on March 31st. And you could also catch us April 1st for their brunch, 11:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. We're very excited for that.
And not only that, we're playing at Daryl's house.
Yes,
what?
We're going to be performing at Daryl's house. So we're going to make these announcements on our page soon with the official set times and everything. But yes, July 15th, we will be performing for a brunch series at Daryl's house. Yeah, we're really excited.
We got lots of other stuff. We're playing at this resort in New Jersey, Crystal Springs. Really nice with the Latin Grammy-winning guitarist Hernan Romero, who's amazing. And so we kind of share the stage with him.
Yeah,
It's
which is such
cabaret
an
style.
honor. And we're going to be there on February 18th. So that's coming up very fast. And we have another show there on April 28th. So we have a lot of shows coming up, especially for anybody that's in the tri-state area. Come on out. We'd love to see you guys.
Yes. I'm excited.
So tell us about where we can find your album.
So the album we do have physical copies for those who enjoy purchasing CDs. So you can find physical copies on Amazon.com. And you could, of course, find it on iTunes, Amazon Music, YouTube, Spotify, Tidal, all those streaming platforms. You could find them everywhere.
I want to get it pressed up onto LP, but Leah doesn't want to do that.
I never said that. Maybe in the future.
Hey, well, that stuff is pricey to do that. And also, too, didn't Taylor Swift cause some kind of problem where they can't press her album? There's not enough people pressing their albums, so now all these other artists have to wait for their release. That's what I read.
Yeah.
Is that? Oh, I didn't hear about that. Oh, wow.
I think that started with Adele. Remember the album she put out last year? It was like there was like a big order for it that everybody else had.
Hey, that's how it used to go down back in the day, though. That's what Tommy Taylor was telling me about Christopher Cross's album, is that they didn't have enough releases to sell. So they had the record company had to stop all the other releases because that one was selling, and then they gave it a priority. So that's how it works, man.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Do you know where that album was pressed? That was pressed right in my hometown, like literally a mile, not even a mile, half a mile up the road at Specialty Records Corporation.
Oh, wow.
Specialty Records was a local company that was bought by Time Warner, and Warner had just consolidated all their manufacturing facilities and called it WEA Manufacturing. So anything on Warner Brothers, which Christopher Cross was, Elektra, Atlantic, Asylum, it was all right up the street. It's all pressed right up the street.
And now it's a large apartment building.
Now it's a large. My brother used to be. He was the head of quality control for records for like 10 years up there. Yeah.
Wow, that's such a good story. It's been great talking with you guys. I hope to talk with you guys again.
Thank you so much.
Michael,
absolutely.
Thanks for having us. Yes,
absolutely.
Please have us again, man.
You have been listening to the Starboard podcast with me, your Dockmaster Michael Atilano, and guests Christian Gratz and LeahBeth Evans, the Frost Duo. To find out more about the Starboard podcast, look me up on Facebook. That's Dockmaster Mike on Facebook, and hit like and subscribe. There you will find information on all of our guests and past podcast episodes.